Welcome to the Breakthrough Success Podcast, helping you achieve that breakthrough you've always been looking for in your business. And now your host, Marc Guberti.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host, Marc Guberti, and this is the podcast for marketers and small business owners who are looking for the breakthrough for their businesses. I'm very excited about this show. Our guest, Neil Patel, is going to tell us how he got all of his blogs to 100,000 monthly visitors, and we'll also go into the backstory that led to his success. In case you don't know, Neil is the co-founder of QuickSprout, KISSMetrics, and Crazy Egg, which are all multi-million-dollar businesses. He has helped companies like Amazon, NBC, GM, HP, and Viacom grow their revenue. The Wall Street Journal calls him a top influencer on the web. Forbes says he's one of the top 10 online marketers, and Entrepreneur magazine says he created one of the 100 most brilliant companies in the world. He was recognized as a top 100 entrepreneur under the age of 30 by President Obama and one of the top 100 entrepreneurs under the age of 35 by the United Nations. Neil has also been awarded congressional recognition from the United States House of Representatives. Without any further ado, here's our guest, Neil Patel.
Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. It is such an honor to have you on my show, and you're one of the entrepreneurs I've been following for a really long period of time now. So when I look at very successful entrepreneurs like yourself, I always have to know, how did you get the entrepreneurial bug? Like, what started it all off?
To be quite frank, I just wanted to make money. My entrepreneur bug wasn't a bug because I want to be an entrepreneur. I just wanted to make money. It was a bad reason. But that's how my bugs started. And then from there, I was like, oh, entrepreneurship is the only way. I was too young, couldn't get a job 9 to 5. So I was like, all right, might as well start my own business. And I just continued down on that path because I was so young. I was 16 at the time.
So it started as, I want to make revenue from this. And then it evolved at some point to providing value and all of that type of stuff.
That's correct. It first started saying, hey, I want to make money. And then at that point, I realized, oh, if I'm going to do this, might as well do something I like. And then from there, I was like, oh, maybe I should try solving a problem, feel good about what I'm doing, etc. Right? It adapted over the years, but it first started out just because I wanted to make money.
So right now, you've got all these blogs that are getting hundreds of thousands of monthly visitors. We're all looking at your case studies of nutrition secrets, wondering how do we do this for our blogs. So there's a lot of work associated with going on that path. And there was a point when you didn't have these visitors either, and you were trying to figure this out. What were you thinking about that path in front of you before you have all these multi-million-dollar businesses and successful blogs?
I wasn't thinking anything through. I was young and naive. At the age of 16, I was like, you pop up a website and you make money. You have that dream as a kid. You don't know any better. At least I didn't know any better. Don't get me wrong, eventually it changed and I realized how life really works. But that's how things started off, and I'm like, okay, if I just crank really hard at this, I'll just be rich. And it was really that simple in my head. It's not that simple in real life, but that's how I saw it in my head.
That's an interesting view, because a lot of people, they'll either like overanalyze the situation, or they'll create some type of plan that prevents them from taking action because they want to make it perfect. So you didn't really, in the beginning at least, come in with any plan. You just wanted to get comfortable with it and make it your own.
That's correct. I was so naive. Think about it this way, right? When I created my first website and I linked out to people, I put in there that I did not own that website I was linking to. So like if I linked to Best Buy or Microsoft, I'd be like, I am not the owner of Microsoft. So that way I would think like, oh, if I did that, people won't sue me. I was that naive as a little kid.
Oh, wow. Everyone starts from somewhere, though.
That's right.
So right now, you've got all these businesses, and there was a point when you had to create the plan, I guess, and all of that type of stuff. So when you have all of these businesses, what type of work does it take to continue to sustain that growth and also to manage them? Like, what type of workload do you have to do each day?
It comes down to hiring the right people. If you don't have great team members, you won't succeed. That's the key. It really comes down to the team members. So once you have a business, it's up and running, you have revenue, you have people, employees, etc., it comes down to really hiring the right team. You're not going to create a big company without the right people.
That's interesting. I actually I'm in the middle of reading the book The Virgin Way, and Richard Branson basically said it all comes down to the people who you hire, and it's almost as important, if not more important, than the actual product or service you're providing.
Yeah, and I believe that because the actual product and service you're providing changes over the years. Don't get me wrong, you need a good idea, solve a problem. Ideally, your solution should be easy to use and affordable. But if you have the wrong people, you won't be able to adapt.
So where do you recommend people find the right people to build their teams?
There's no right place. You can use job boards, you can use Craigslist, you can use referrals, you can use other coworkers can make recommendations. Think of it this way, though. When you're hiring, you can't just make sure that they know how to do the job, but they have to be a cultural fit. They have to believe in the same beliefs, values that you have, the business has, your other team members have. And if they don't, and they're not a good cultural fit, they won't survive and last.
So it's not about where you find the person. It's more about finding the person who exemplifies your values. There's no like place where you find all of your people.
That's correct, yes.
Interesting. So throughout your journey, there must have been some good days and bad days. And to get through the bad days, you really had to persist through and just focus on the path ahead of you. So what was the biggest motivation you've had since day one of your journey that has helped you to achieve your success?
Well, it's not really a motivation. It's more so I love what I'm doing. If you're passionate about the problem you're solving, the business you're creating, whatever it may be, you're much more likely to keep pushing forward. The moment you're not passionate is a moment you're not going to succeed.
That is so true. You got to have the passion to do the big things that you want to do. A lot of people have said it in different ways, but it all does come back down to the passion.
Yeah, because you're much more likely to quit and give up and not put as much time and effort into something if you're not passionate about it.
And your advice is very helpful. So if that's part of your passion, helping out people, just want to let you know you're doing a great job at that.
Thank you.
So at this point, you've got all these successful blogs. People are wondering, how do we make this happen? But you're the person who has managed to make it happen. So what's the best part about hitting the breakthrough where like all the blogs you're creating are getting hundreds of thousands of monthly visitors and you've got multi-million-dollar businesses left and right?
It's funny, you get used to it over a while. So once you hit like 100,000, you'll be like, okay, when am I going to hit 1 million? As your business grows, you're going to be like, okay, when am I going to create a bigger company? It's never ending.
That's interesting because I remember when I first created a Twitter account, my big goal was to get 100,000 followers. But now that I hit 100,000 followers, I mean, I celebrated for one day, but now it's like, how do I get to 200,000? How do I get to 300,000? So it is interesting. It's like happiness that like, you were able to achieve the milestone, but how can I go forward and never settle?
Exactly. So it just comes down to once you hit a number, you're going to hit more, or you're going to want to hit more. You're never going to be happy. You're never going to be satisfied. And it's like a drug.
Exactly. I've never heard of that comparison before, but it makes a lot of sense now that I think about it.
Yeah, it's addicting.
So there are people who they want to hit those milestones, whether it be 100,000 monthly visitors or they're thinking a little conservative for now, 10,000 monthly visitors because that's the milestone that they're aiming for this particular moment. What advice do you have for the entrepreneurs who are trying to reach their breakthrough? It doesn't matter whether it's getting blog visitors, getting Twitter followers, or anything else, just their breakthrough in general.
Well, what I would say is if you're just trying to get your breakthrough in general, keep at it. Learn from mistakes. Learn from others who have had it and who haven't had it. Because the key with entrepreneurship or anything that you're trying to achieve in life is along that path, you're going to make mistakes. It's common. Everyone does. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But if you can learn from your mistakes and avoid making them, you're much more likely to hit your goals and objectives. If you learn, which is even better, if you learn from other people who tried to take a similar path, and you learn from their mistakes, and you avoid making their mistakes over and over again, you'll also increase your chance of succeeding.
I have to ask, because I feel like you were hitting on this particular vein. Did you have a good mentor or several good mentors that helped you along your journey?
Yeah, I had a lot of friends who helped me. Like there was one guy named Andy Liu. He gave me a lot of feedback. Still a great fan, awesome mentor. But yeah, it's just friends. You help each other out.
I'm happy to hear that. So people, they want to get their blogs more traffic, and this is the part specifically for those people who want to get more blog traffic. So what 3 tips do you have for people who they want to blog their way to 100,000 monthly visitors or get a lot of traffic similar to that nature?
Yeah. So the first thing is focus on headlines. If your headlines aren't good, you're not going to do well. Doesn't matter how good your content is, people read headlines. And the way you can do that is check out articles like by Copyblogger. They have a headline formula article, and it'll teach you how to write good headlines. And when you're publishing a blog post, make sure you write 10 headlines and pick the best one out of the 10. Don't just write one headline. Be like, okay, this is the title of the blog post. Number 2, write consistently. Writing one good post isn't enough. You need to continually write, like not just if you want to publish weekly, then publish every week. You want to publish daily, then publish every day. Pick a ratio or a frequency, whatever it may be, and stick with it. The third thing is focus half your time on writing the content, the other half on promotion. So every time you link out to someone in your blog post, email them, let them know. Say, hey, Mark, I just want to let you know I linked out to you in my latest blog post. Love what you're doing. You can check it out here. P.S. If you like it, feel free to share it on your favorite social network. Or you can go to Twitter and use their search feature and type in keywords that are related to your article. See who tweeted out other related articles and email them, right? Find their email address on the web and say, hey, I noticed you tweeted out this article by author X, Y, and Z. I have a similar article that's coming out. Just wanted to see if you wanted to check it out before it goes live. And in most cases, they'll say yes. Send them the article. Ask them to share it as well. So those are the strategies I would use if you're trying to create a popular blog early on.
Those are some really great strategies. I do find myself battling time to time from content creation to content promotion because I feel like you want to create as much content as possible, but you have to have the healthy gap of creating the content and also promoting it. So what do you recommend for maintaining that healthy gap where it's not too much of one side or the other?
Yeah, for the healthy gap, for it to be, I just track time. There's no one way or another. Like over time, you just figure out how to end up doing it. As you practice, you'll figure out, all right, don't spend too much time on this or too much time on that. It's just like tweaking anything, all right? It's fine tuning.
All right. So basically just building habits because, I mean,
yeah, you got it right.
Yeah, that helps out. I also feel like when anyone is motivated to pursue a certain path or they have to put in the work to achieve a certain goal, I feel like there's an inspirational quote driving them in some way that they remember that inspires them. So I just want to ask you, what is your favorite inspirational quote and why?
I don't really have one favorite inspirational quote. Reason being is there's a ton of different ones for different situations you're in, right? So Richard Branson, I believe he had a quote saying, business opportunities are like buses, they're just always passing you by. The question is which one's the right one to hop on, right? There's a lot of good quotes depending on where you are in life. Like if you're trying to figure out what type of business to create, that could be a great quote. There was another quote by a guy named Christopher Reese, I believe his last name is. And he just talks about how, be careful how you treat others. Because that person you're, being rude to could be the person that's in charge of you the next day. In essence, like you could be yelling at someone and talking down to them, and the next day you could be kissing their butt because
yeah,
that's right.
Thank you for taking the time to be a guest on my podcast. It was great to have you. So for the listeners who want to find you on the web, I'm giving you the spotlight right now to basically let people know where they can find you right now.
NeilPatel.com.
All right. Well, Neil, it's been a pleasure to have you as a guest. I wish you continued luck on your future endeavors, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day.
Same. Take care.
Thank you. What a great interview that was. I have been reading Neil's various blogs for a long time. He makes 100,000 monthly visitors seem so easy that I knew I had to have him on the show. What I really liked about Neil is that even though he has several multi-million-dollar businesses, he's still hustling, still trying to find more breakthroughs. I mean, even just now, Neil recently came out with his new Marketing School podcast, and it has 10-minute daily episodes, and his book Hustle is coming out on September 13th, 2016, so that's coming up. If you forgot to take notes, then don't worry, we've got you covered with the show notes. Visit markgilberti.com/E4 for those. You can ask questions over there, which I'll be more than happy to answer. To never miss an episode, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on whatever player you are using. If you are a regular listener and have not done so already, I would greatly appreciate it if you could give the podcast a rating and or a review. Two ways you could do this are through markgilberti.com/iTunes or markgilberti.com/Stitcher. That ends this episode. Don't forget, dream big, achieve greatness, and unlock your potential today. How different would your life be if you accomplished all of your goals? I want to help make that life a reality. In the Boost Your Productivity Now course, I share all of the secrets behind my productivity and how you can achieve the same results. This course is valued at $150, but as a valued Breakthrough Success listener, you can get a 75% discount by heading over to markgilberti.com/productivity.
This podcast is a production done by Marc Gilberti. For more insights, head on over to markgilberti.com.